Hello guys, Elven Warrior here and welcome to today's video. And today I have got for you another ultimate Dark Elf beginner's guide. So whether you're new to Warhammer or just new to basically the Dark Elves themselves, hopefully this guide will help you at least, no matter what difficulty you play on, whether it's easy, normal, very hard. If there's little things that you're unsure about, hopefully you'll learn something new here. Hopefully I'll be able to provide all that in this video for you. So I have previously done the high elf one and I will be looking to do others as well. So I'm also going to timestamp the videos as well, so if you're just looking for a particular thing, you can feel free just to have a skip through and obviously find what you're looking for. And before we get into it, don't forget to shove a like, a comment on the video, because it'll help the channel to grow. It'll do lots of positive things, and also most importantly, hit that subscribe button, guys. A lot of the viewers aren't currently subscribers. It'd be very much appreciated and you will help the channel to grow. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. So you start off with Naggarond, as you can see. So what we're going to go over, just all the basics. So to grow the province, you require growth. So you can just see that over here in this bottom left corner. So on the left is basically the accumulation of growth. So you're gaining 20 per turn, and you need to get 600 before you can get the next population surplus. So you need this population surplus to be able to grow your major settlement buildings for the Dark Elves anyway. So yeah, it's really good. So you've just got to, it gets like higher and higher each time. So once you get to the next surplus point, that'll get even bigger. So yeah, and then that's what you do. It tells you how many turns until it's done. So fantastic. There we go. Okay, so this is the tax mechanic. The tax bit. So obviously it says slaves there. This is where your slaves come. So basically this is, you want to you receive slaves in this province. You can request additional slaves when you take them, or this is where you don't want any to arrive there. So basically, unfortunately for the Dark Elves, you can't turn off the tax. It constantly stays taxed. So obviously you're always going to have the -4 public order from that. So we'll cover slaves in a bit more detail because there's other things on there, but this is pretty much like the main bit of it, because it tells you what percentage is in this province. Yeah, so if you just hover over it, it tells you the current slaves, the maximum amount of slaves that's allowed in the province. The more you upgrade the settlements and the more you obviously complete the province, that number will increase. And also it'll affect your public order, as well as obviously increasing your income. And the slaves also decline per turn as well, but there are ways to prevent it from declining. Okay, so the next bit is corruption. So as you can see, the Dark Elves are suffering from a little bit of Skaven corruption, because there's Skaven in the other 3 settlements. So their preferred one is untainted. So yeah, you've just got to use the specific buildings to help boost it, or also the main, as long as it's like an untainted province, which this is, all you've got to do is just get rid of the source, and then that'll just go back to normal. Okay, so the next thing, province effects. So what happens here, you always have this one, so region control. So it's currently at neutral, but obviously it's all public order dependent. The worse your public order goes, the worse things happen. Like, it affects your growth, it affects your public order, because the worse your public order gets, you get buffs to the public order, so it slows down the rebellion. And it also increases recruitment cost, construction cost as well, I believe. So as you can see here, it says untainted. So because the entire region is untainted, it's got its majority untainted, it enables attrition for vampiric undead armies. So if an undead army passes through your region, they will suffer attrition. Okay, so onto this bit here, the commandments. So you have 5 commandments to choose from. So you have the Read Dark Portents. So basically you get extra ambush success chance, enemy hero action success chance minus 15%, all regions in the province. So that's okay. This is a good one to help you grow. So you get growth plus 20 and extra income from slaves as well. So there's this one here as well. This provides untainted. So what this will do as well, same as the high elf one. So basically if you put that down, you will get +1 untainted for every settlement you have in this region. So you could end up having +4 untainted from this region. And then obviously tax rate +5%, that's good. And also +4 public order as well. So yeah, that can be handy, especially in the early game anyway. And also you need it to unlock a right as well. So this button here is your settlement overview. So if I just click on that, it brings up this menu. So you're able just to get an overview of what's going. You can easily quickly build stuff and stuff like that. The next button is the garrison details. So if you click on that, it shows you what garrison is in Naggarond. Basically, if you hover over each unit, it tells you what health they're at, and obviously you can see the rest of the stats. So if you do a confederation, the places that you've confederated, the settlements, their basically garrisons will suffer, like basically they'll be like non-extinct. They'll have to like recover over time. So I think they recover like over the period of the 5 turns, but they start off on low health. So when you confederate, just be careful, because your garrisons do take a hit. Not pre-existing ones, it's already yours. Just ones. Let's just say you confederated the Great Arena, then that garrison will take a huge hit on hit points. So the next slot, is the building browser. So if you click on that, it brings up a more expanded bit of the overview. So you can literally see every single building at once, you know, what you can build. So it's just really useful to do sometimes, just to see what buildings. Just try and plan out your settlement, to be fair. That's what I usually use this bit for, just to plan out, like, I want to build the money, I want to build the slave pen, we need the sorcerer's abode and stuff like that. Oh, we need this later on for more public order and the recruit rank. Yeah, it's really good, so it's really useful to use. Okay, so the next button is Recruit Lord. So you'll come here to basically recruit any lord. Basically, there should be a legend. Once you get an extra legendary lord that's disbanded, you'll get a legendary lord slot as well that pops up. So you've got Dreadlord male, Dreadlord female, High Beastmaster, and the Supreme Sorceress, which you'll have the 5 different laws of magic that they adhere to. And generally, you'll get one lord that's basically a chance of getting high loyalty, and one that has a lower loyalty. So, as I've just mentioned there, the Dark Elves suffer from loyalty issues with lords, not legendary lords, just normal lords. So basically you have to win battles, you have to keep them happy, you have to give them armies, you have to give them items and stuff just to keep them happy, and they'll gain loyalty and stuff like that. And you can even like put heroes in the army. I think an assassin you can just add to the army once they've had a certain level up given, and it'll basically, they'll get an extra chance to like gain loyalty that turn and stuff like that. So the next button is Recruit a Hero. So obviously I can't recruit any heroes just yet, but as you can see, you can recruit a Death Hag, Khaine Assassin, a Master, and a Sorceress. So as Malekith, you already start off with a Sorceress of Fire, which is very, very good. So yeah, that's where you recruit them from. The next button is the Recruit Black Ark. So as you can see, there's no characters currently available, and you can currently see that this is flashing, but we'll get to that shortly. But yeah, basically you've got to do a rite to be able to gain a Black Ark. Okay, so up here, this is the Treasury. So as you can see, this is the amount of Treasury you've got to spend, and this is your predicted income. So this is the Treasury button. So if you click on this, this gives you just a complete overview of everything that is incoming and outgoing. So also there is a trade button, currently not trading, so you can't see it. and then this button here is the detailed one. So if you really want to go into the nitty gritty about it, you know, you can view that here. It goes into such detail. Also, you'll see this little button here as well. It's the slaves. So this is the total amount of slaves that you've got. So basically, every time you fight a battle, whether it's against a settlement or an army, you get the option. One of the options is that you get to choose slaves. So I think there's two options where you can gain slaves. One's a lower amount and the other one's a higher amount, and then it'll just add to this pool. And then once it adds to this pool, it'll then, whatever you've done here, whether you receive slaves, that'll be dished out equally, or if you do that, then they'll request more slaves. But I recommend not doing it to regions that you think that you're going to lose or are not very stable. Don't take any slaves there, because otherwise you'll just make a rebellion a lot quicker and you'll potentially lose that settlement and those slaves that are in that settlement as well. Okay, so down here we've got the objectives. So as you can see, this is the victory conditions, and this is for the long campaign victory. So you've got lots of stuff to do there. This will force you to spread out across the map pretty much, just to basically conquer all this basically. And then you have short campaign victory, so which you don't have to go as far, which is good. And one thing that's always got me is that I've always known about the chapter objectives, but I've never really known much about the bonus objectives. So this is like the main one. You've just got to basically occupy, loot, raise or sack 4 different settlements, and you get 2,000 reward. But you have all these bonus objectives as well. Maintain 25 units, win 3 battles, which is an easy one to get, and you get an extra 1,000. It's really easy. Loot or sack 2 different settlements. So there's another one you can get really easy. Capture 2,500 battle captives. You get 2,000 for that, so you can get really good. Reach rank 5 with him, you can get an easy 5,000 from that. Really, it's just, you know, in the early game, that's so useful. Okay, the next option, diplomacy. So if you click that button, this will bring this up. So it'll just show you all the known races to you right now. So then what you do, you're able to enter diplomacy, whether it's to get non-aggression, get military access, anything like that. You can just get your agreements, build relations, declare war, all the good stuff like that. Or you can also, if you've got an ally, defensive or military, you can give them a war coordination. So if you've got a common enemy, you can then just set that on a settlement or an army, and basically they will hopefully go and attack it. So the next button is technology. So if you click on this, this brings up the technology tree or the research area. So basically, as a Dark Elves, you can only start with that, and then it opens up these 3, and then you get to just choose which one you want to go down, and then obviously the next one. Once you've done these 3, you can then do this one. You can pay for this one, and it takes a turn. It's the Dark Elf tree is pretty good. Some really good stuff in here. Extra public order, extra growth. There's some really, really good stuff in here, depending which way you're going down. So yeah, definitely worthwhile doing. The next one is the rites. So as you can see, some good rites here as well. None of them are unlocked. You've got to do certain things to unlock that. So this one, you've just got to perform an action with a sorceress hero. So just a simple thing, by just putting your sorceress in an army, you unlock it. So we've unlocked that one, but we don't have enough slaves to be able to perform that rite. And as you can see, this is where you recruit the Black Ark from. You don't recruit it from, sorry, I said that wrong. Once you've built the slave pen building, you can then perform this rite for this amount of slaves, and then the cooldown is 25 turns. So this is the cost it takes, this is the cooldown for it, and then this is how long these are effective for. So some really good stuff there. Black Arks are very, very good, and we'll cover it later on in the video. Okay, so this button here is your slave mechanic. So this is where you can keep a greater control of your slaves. Basically, it'll show every single region that you own, province that you own, and basically you can control like whether to request additional slaves. So basically it's just a more in-depth of what was down here. It just shows you the effects like negative public order, more income, it tells you about the settlement, and also it just shows you the other stuff as well, which is really handy. It just goes into more detail. And then as you can see, the Sword of Khaine button here, the Dark Elves have this as well as the High Elves and the Wood Elves. So they're the only 3 races that can draw the sword from the building. So that's just from there, once you gain control of that settlement where the Shrine of Khaine is. Okay, so up here you just see the mini-map. So if you can zoom in and out of that, obviously it just shows you, you just get a good idea of like obviously everything that's going on around you. And then just above that you'll see the missions and quests button. Currently I don't have any missions or quests available, so I can't really show it yet, but this is where they'll pop up from. The next button across is the events tab. So what this does, this just shows you, if you click on that, it comes up after each end turn anyway. So it just tells you everything that's like basically gone on. There's chapter objective. We've got like diplomacy agreement there, and also we've unlocked a right. So that's just all the world events. The next button is Lords and Heroes. So this will show you basically all the Lords and Heroes that you have. Even like Lords that you've recruited but not currently out on the field, they should come here as well. But unfortunately for heroes, they don't work the same. If you disband a hero, you effectively kill them. So obviously just be careful. If you've got a trait that you want for the heroes, don't disband them, because they won't come back unless they're immortal. If they're immortal, it'll just be like the wounded and you'll still see them there. The next button, provinces. So as you can see here, this is our province. We've only got one settlement, so it's a contested province. So once it's a completed province, it'll look like that. It'll have your like faction banner there, the Naggarond banner. That'll just appear there once we've completed the province. So it just gives you minor details like public order and what the income is. I know you can see what other provinces are like as well. So the next button is known factions. So again, it's just another like quick bit of the diplomacy bit really. You just get a quick option just to see like basically the relations you've got with people, and whether you're able to trade. Like you can't trade with these because we cannot get a route from their capital to ours. So if we took the Great Arena, we will then be able to trade with Ganeth. So let's just see quickly. Declare war. I'll see if this works quickly. Hopefully we can should be able to just auto resolve this, just so I can show you what I mean. Yep, nice and easy. Yep, so as you can see there, we've got the road. This is what I was saying before. You get the 2 options. You get slaves, a larger amount and a smaller amount, but I'll just take the smaller amount just because I'm trying to prove a point. And then you can see, like, if you're struggling to see where there's a road, literally just get closer to the map and physically you can see that there's a road there. There's a road goes up there and a road comes this way, and you can see there's the border, and the road comes all the way to this city. So literally we can just click on them. So hang on, let's just go into known factions, and now you see there the trade route has opened up. So we can go on to diplomacy and hopefully we'll get a trade agreement. There we go. So now we've been able to trade with them as well. So there we go. That's what you can do with there. Okay, so this button up here is the faction summary button. So as you can see there, for Malekith, he gives a percentage of XP earned to other lords. He has diplomatic relations -40 with a faction of Exiles of Nehek, and he has positive diplomatic relations with the Cult of Pleasure, because that's his mammy. He gets loyalty +2 for new recruits, and an increased chance of loyalty loss for lords of a higher rank than Malekith. So if you click on the button, you can see it opens up this. You get more in-depth what's going on with a faction. So over here, it tells you where your capital is, how many provinces owned, how many settlements owned, your treasury, income. it tells you that faction summary again, and then it shows you what climates are suitable for your faction, and then basically what are unsuitable. So these are just like the medium ones, they're okay but they're not too bad, and then these ones are really bad. Basically you suffer severe penalties for occupying these ones. And then it tells you how many armies you've got over here under faction power, and how many heroes you have basically capacity for, and how many you have available. And then your diplomacy as well, it tells you what allies you've got, who you're at war with, and trade partners as well. So as you can see, you've got your records if you want to just go back and just see something, and you have statistics. So if you want to see just more in-depth stuff about what you've done, then come here and it will tell you. Okay, so unfortunately Malekith doesn't have any faction mechanics. He's one of the starting factions of Warhammer 2 when it was first released, so he didn't have anything special really, so nothing really to cover there. So we'll move on to the next one and we'll carry on the video. Okay, so the next faction we're going to talk about is the Cult of Pleasure. So this is led by Morathi. Okay, so again, so if we just go over the faction summary again, so in the top corner, everything else is the same. So for this one, I'm only going to talk about the faction summary and a little bit some of the slight differences that she has. So as you can see there, she spreads chaos corruption. She has diplomatic relations -40 with the faction Exiles of Nehek, and she has diplomatic relations +20 with all Dark Elves. Hero action cost -50%, construction cost for sorcery buildings -25%, chaos corruption +1 all characters, and -50% upkeep for all heroes. So yeah, she has that. And then the difference that Morathi has is that she doesn't have like 2 buildings that the other Dark Elves have, that she doesn't. She has this instead, the House of Assassins, and she has this building here instead. In fact, she has 3 buildings different, because she doesn't have the Public Order building. So this is her Public Order building, and she spreads chaos corruption as well. So yeah, so that's pretty much the difference with her. She's the only Dark Elf that spreads chaos corruption. All the rest have Untainted. So yeah, again, she's another base faction. So we'll move on to the next one. So here we are on the next faction, Ganeth with Crone Hellebron. So her faction summary: she has Cauldron of the Blood Queen. She gets hero capacity +2 for Death Hags. Casualties captured post-battle +25%. She has a different rite, so Sacrifice of Trakiri. It improves Death Hags, Witch Elves, plus bonuses for all armies versus High Elves. And she has a slave cost -33% for Sacrifice to Khaine. So her faction mechanic is a bit... So she's the first one that has a faction mechanic. She has the Death Knight, it's called. So basically, you have this bar here and you have this button. So you basically, what you do is you push this button. Once you have the required amount of slaves, you can trigger that and it fills the bar up. So what happens is, at the lowest one, you have an active blood voyages will take heavy attrition damage from desertion. Your armies will get basically vigor in battle, winded for Crone Hellebron, and Public Order -4 all provinces, and Chaos Corruption all provinces. The next one up is Bitter, so it's just the attrition again, but it's moderate, and just 2 Public Order losses all provinces. And then Respected, they still take light attrition for the blood voyages, and then we get some bonuses there. You get +2 Public Order, extra leadership, physical resistance, and vigor loss reduction. The next stage is Joyous, so your blood voyages will not suffer attrition. Lords get chance of gaining loyalty, and again, same stuff: leadership, Public Order, physical resistance. And then finally, the top one, all your armies and the blood voyages also will replenish slowly, even in unowned territory. blood voyages will not suffer attrition from desertion. Lords get, again, it's just the same old buffs, they just get better. So basically what the blood voyage is, I explained, I've mentioned it a lot there and not said anything about it. So when you hit this button, once you get enough slaves to hit this button, it will fill the bar to the top and it will create an army called the blood voyage. And then basically the main function of that army is to basically go and harass the high elves, but as long as you've got a common enemy, you're able to dictate to it like kind of where to aim for. So it's basically like a secondary army in a way, but you just don't have control of it. So that's pretty much it for this faction. So we'll then get on to the next one. Next up is the Blessed Dread, led by Lockhair Fellheart. Okay, so if we just go over his faction summary, so he has the Menace of Mathlan. His suitable climate is jungle and savanna. He has a different rite, sacrifice to Anathrema, improves income from raising and sacking. He gets boosted income from slave pens and slave markets. But this is the major thing why I love Lockhair's faction. Every owned major port settlement will allow the recruitment of Black Arcs. So instead of doing it via a rite, like the other factions, he gets to recruit. So the Star Tower is a major port settlement. Alright? So once you capture that, you'll be able to, you need to capture, because you already start off with one, you need to capture that one and possibly another one, and then you can recruit one more. So it's really, really good. So this is the first time you get to see a Black Arc on this video, so I'll get to cover it. So the Black Arcs are basically like mobile cities in a way. So you have buildings that you can build, and you have growth. So basically, again, same principle as like basically growing your settlements. Exactly the same principle there. You have your growth, except it's a hell of a lot less. And basically, when you get your surplus, you can then plough that into buildings. And then for this, because it's basically like a horde, basically what you do is you can do that. Each one you go up, it has various bonuses, which is very good. But this is why Black Arcs are so good, because you can get just off the main the main building itself, minus 60% reduction of upkeep for all units in the Black Arc. And basically you can reduce it further via, like, if you go Shades, you can get an extra 6% off there. If you go onto his Lord trait, you come down Quartermaster, you can reduce it by another 23%. It is possible to get 0 upkeep on Black Arcs, so it's very, very good and powerful. And the more Black Arcs you get, as Lockhair, you can get Black Arcs very, very quickly. So it's definitely worthwhile, and he's by far one of my favourite factions for the Dark Elves. But we'll move on to the next one now, because that's everything for Lockhair. So now we have Ganeth. Greif, sorry. Led by the infamous Malice Darkblade. So he starts off in a bit of a strange position. His army and a Black Arc start off down in the Dragon Isles. Yet we have up over here in Greif itself, we own Greif and have an army. So what happens here is basically once you take that settlement, you get given the dilemma on the next turn to basically, Malekith will give you 20,000 gold to take Greif off your hands. So it's a great way to start the campaign, getting 20,000, but then you start off in a bit of a kind of a tricky position down here with Deathmaster Snickich and Imric over here and stuff. So, and Grimgor and Crocgar down here and stuff like that. There's a few tricky enemies around you. So let's just go over his faction summary. So he has Tyrant of Greif. He has suitable climate of jungle and mountain. He is possessed by the demon Sarkhan, who is controlled with the use of elixirs. And he also has Sarkhan's Whispers. The demon influences Malice to commit acts of slaughter and cruelty. And Malice's faction gets income from mines, gold mines and quarries, plus 30% all regions, which is really, really good. So yeah, this is his mechanic up here. So as you can see, there's this thing. So basically, this tells you what kind of like possession he's at. And basically each stage he gets buffs. So basically he's currently, you start off at the ability with Sarkhan, so you get basically access to the demon straight away. And then basically you don't get to replenish though, you get next to no replenishment. But then if you go the other way, you just get positive things like for the faction, for like your settlements and stuff, which is good. And then to do that, you just press this elixir. So you do that, you reset it, you do it again, and you go all the way here, and you also unlock a special rite as well. So this is the Sarkhan Whispers, so it'll give you like little quests to do that'll gain like extra things to go towards possession. And also you can allow full possession, which will give you access to Sarkhan. That's his there's his mechanics. So they're pretty mad. So sure you'll have fun with that. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, so now we have the 1,000 Maws, led by Rakarth himself. So his faction summary: he under the lash. Basically, he has monster pens, capture a variety of hideous beasts and send them into battle. His forces do not receive vigor penalties from raiding stance, and he has upkeep reduction of -10% for all monstrous units. So he doesn't have much of a mechanic, but what he does have, he has this. So this is his mechanic basically. So he gets to find basically through his travels, through raiding, and basically doing battles and everything, he gets a chance to gain monsters. So he can gain monsters through certain regions. So if you hover over, it should actually tell you exactly what you need. So basically, by occupying, sacking or raising high elf or wood elf settlements or via special events, you can get Black Dragon. Higher level lords have better chance of capturing better creatures. So for this one, this unit can replenish by winning battles at sea. The Hydra, you can be replenished by raiding mountain regions or via special events, and so on. Just all different things, you know, there's different things you've got to do for each one. Obviously some are more common than others. So yeah, that's pretty much his mechanics. Not much of a one, but it just adds a bit of flavour to his campaign, I suppose. Also he gets, same with Lockyer, I forgot to mention actually, you'll get basically a quest. You've got to capture so many slaves, and basically you'll be given the opportunity to confederate Karandkar, because both Rakarth and Lockyer Fellheart are from that city. So basically it's kind of like a race between the two. You have like 32 turns or something to be able to do that kind of like quest within. So there you have it, guys. We've covered all the basics of all the Dark Elf factions. I hope you found it useful. So please let me know in the comments like whether you've found it useful, whether you think it's good, and also don't forget to hit that like button, and most importantly smash that subscribe button, guys. Most of my viewers aren't subscribers at the minute, so please smash that button. You'll be helping the channel out to grow. Be very much appreciated, and I will see you all for the next video.